Hey, have you ever thought or said, no one knows as much as you do about what you're doing? We're going to talk today about why it may be worth the bother to listen to what others tell you. Coming up shortly.
Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hey, different look to there we go. Much better.
Yes, much better. Good morning, Bob. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I like our new intro style.
Because you got to go first. You got to go by yourself on the screen. For those of you who are watching, those of you who are listening to the podcast, Bob was solo on the screen all by himself at the start.
Explain to them why that is, though, Tom. Because you had something in that, you had a say in that, but you chose not to do what you were going to do. And
I didn't do my homework. I chose instead to play, go to Buffalo, watch the Bills, eat some wings, do the things that make me happy. So I chose to do that. Bob chose to do the homework. And so he, on the inaugural show with a little new look, so we're going to roll out some new changes here over the next couple of days. He got to go first. And I know there is nothing that makes him happier than having the opportunity to be solo on that. And fortunate for us, Bob is willing to learn from others. So that won't always be the case in the future.
And if you have comments about our new styles and changes, please, love to get them. You can give us good feedback. It doesn't matter. We'd love to hear what you have to say.
It's just feedback, right?
That's it.
So everyone, welcome. We look forward. Shortly, we'll have our conversation around learning from others. And today we're going to talk about why bother, why it matters. Before we do that, we just want to remind people, one, that our from I Wish to Success, the Renegade Way will be tomorrow. We'll have another workshop tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Bob will put that in the comments
right now.
in the show notes. If you are listening to the podcast, because you can listen to the podcast, you can watch it on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, or
LinkedIn Live.
Yes, LinkedIn Live. So you can find information about our workshop that we'll hold not only tomorrow, the 11th at 11. You can also catch it if you can't make that date, the 20th of January at 4 p.m. So we look forward to seeing you as a part of that workshop. And again, from the link that Bob's putting in, you can gain more information about that. So let's dive right into the way we start every show, our celebrations. Bob, what are you celebrating today?
I'm celebrating the fact that you and I don't just do the same old tired thing month after month, year after year, that we change things up. We try to, we meet and we talk through things and we make what we think are improvements as we go. And not everyone does that, and I think you and I have always had the belief that there's opportunities to try things different ways. And that introduction this morning was a different way of doing it. And who knows what the feedback will be? Who knows if we'll do it tomorrow or a year from now? But I think it's great that we can collaborate in a way that we can try different things without a lot of, oh, well, if we change it, it's going to be bad. There was none of that. It was like, well, yeah, this sounds good. Let's go with it. How about you? What are you celebrating?
Well, it's I'm going to celebrate the Bills winning the AFC East for the second year in a row. So that's my selfish celebration. And I'm going to add in that it is really go time. For those of you who are paying attention, this isn't the first time listening. If you were listening to our show last week, our topic was it's go time. And this was really go time for us. And I think you shared just a moment ago that, well, we might not do the same thing tomorrow. I think if we go back and listen to Tuesday or Wednesday's episode, which would have been like 484 maybe or 85.
Sounds right.
We talked about taking all the steps.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure we've taken all the steps in this go time to really be able to. We'll get some results. And I think we have the opportunity to take all the steps and get more results before we decide to shift again. So
I will give you some initial feedback, Tom, which is in reading that out loud, it really focused me in on the topic of the day. Like it started my thoughts, which is good. Sometimes this is not probably a surprise to many people who watch this frequently, but sometimes I'm just sort of rolling into the topic right about the time we start talking about it.
Well, and we occasionally chit chat for a while about what some might think are very irrelevant things.
That's
So,
it.
which is okay. All right, so let's dive into our topic then, Bob. Today,
can I?
Oh yes, my apologies.
No, that's okay. It's National Clean Off Your Desk Day. A dirty desk, both physically dirty, like it's got dust and you haven't gotten the germs off it, not good, especially in this cold and flu season. If you're at a desk in a workplace, or if you're at a desk at your home and your kids use it and your husband or your wife, significant other, your dog climbs over it, your cat's on it. Really important to take everything off your desk. Everything. Clean it, sanitize it, and then put stuff back in an appropriate style, not in the strewn mess that my desk at my home looks like.
Yeah, it sounds like I have something I need to add to my day pack today to clean off my desk area.
Yes.
Wonderful. One of my favorite days of the year.
I worked at a company where twice a year they would give us the afternoon to clean our desk and all that. And
Did you actually
amazing.
do that or no?
What's that?
Did you actually clean your desk on
Oh,
those days?
yeah. And we would find files that had been lost. We'd find receipts. It was great. It'd be like, look, I found that thing we were looking for 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, not so helpful today, huh?
No, not so
Yeah,
much.
I used to be like, okay, that's one of those days. The big one was like clean up your desktop on your computer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, I would just do work. So like the one time I was not a rule follower, that would have been it.
Wow.
Yes.
Who knew?
I know. All right. So now that we know what the nation is celebrating, we can now move forward with our topic, correct?
Yes.
So we're talking about learning from others. And I love the sort of subtitle of Why Bother? And I think it's kind of a funny, it's funny, although it seems so true. I think a lot of times leaders, entrepreneurs, small business owners feel like they have to do it all. They are now in this role of, I'm the owner. I am the new person in charge of our team, and I need to do it all. Why do I need to go learn from anyone else? I was given this role or took this role, and I know everything I need to know to do it. Any thoughts you want to share about that, Bob?
I've had that theory when I started my first business. That was my go-to. I wouldn't ask for help. I wouldn't talk to other people much. I was very focused on it because it's like, I'm an owner. The owner has to have all the answers. Didn't have all the answers. And as I've matured, I've realized that I have fewer answers than I could ever imagine. Yet my customers and my prospective customers have all the answers. They know what they want. They know what they need. I may know what I think they need, but listening to them and hearing it in their words is what resonates. So for instance, our subtopic today, why bother? That's words that I think most people would be like, yeah, I totally get that. If we had said something, I can't even think of another way to say that phrase, but a phrase that was like more scientific, people would be like, what the hell are they talking about today? So I think listening to your customers, listening to other people, even your competitors. I mean, I find that some of my competitors do really great stuff, and it's like, wow, that's really good. I can take that and move things a little further in my own direction. And I think it's just the more we're open to feedback, and I like how you've gotten me over the last year to really think of feedback, not so much as positive or negative, but just information. The more we can just say, hey, here's information coming in. So someone may say, I hate your new introduction. I don't like the way you read, whatever. Hey, you know what? That's just feedback. We'll listen to it. We may act on it or we may not. But when we close ourselves off to people, especially the people around us who want to help us, because our customers, I haven't done the research to be able to put this scientifically, but our customers want us to succeed. If you choose to buy something from me, Tom, and I go out of business, that makes you look bad. If you choose a vendor and that vendor thrives, you're a part of that success. And that's why when you ask for referrals, I was talking to someone the other day and they were having trouble with referrals. And I was like, it's not that bad a discussion. Your customer really wants you to thrive. It's like, how can I help you? Because I like what you do. I want you to be here going forward. If I need to help you find more business so you can thrive, I'm all in.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I was thinking about it similarly because those thoughts are definitely a part of this topic for me. I also think that I always was amazed. I was the person who every chance I got to go to a professional development workshop, conference, I loved it and soaked it all in. I would go to a conference and I would be the person who went to every session that I possibly could. Even though you're in these beautiful remote, or not necessarily always remote, but beautiful locations where it's warm and there are pools and things to do in the cities, I would go to the meetings because I felt like there were things I could learn. And I don't think I ever really thought about it in the way that we've been discussing, as that I didn't have all the answers. I just thought about it as I enjoyed understanding what other people did and seeing how I may or may not be able to incorporate that into what I'm doing. And I was always amazed when people would take the time that they had been given and the resources they had been given to go to an event like that. And not they go to one session, they go to the cocktail party, and then they sit by the pool. I never really understood that. I think that, there's always opportunities to learn from others. And as you said, we're learning all the time, even though we may or may not know it. And I always felt like while they didn't know my situation, they could provide information that I could determine, okay, it made me think differently about something. And I could decide whether I could incorporate that or some piece of that into what I was trying to do. And I always felt like that was a valuable thing. The challenge I always had is I walked away with information overload. There was so much of it that I had to try to, and I eventually got better at working my way through, okay, here's all the information that we got. Here are all the things that I thought were really great. Here are the things that I could incorporate and I had the resources to do in my role. Here are the ones now that I'm going to try to implement and see what happens from there. I can remember early on, I would be like, okay, I'm going to take all of this and we're going to implement this, even though the organization that was presenting had 10 times more resources and way different client base.
Yeah.
I thought, well, let's just do it. It worked for them. It should work for us. And while I think there's value in understanding that, there's also value in understanding that just because it worked for somebody else doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you exactly the same way. And you can also learn from it.
You've got to have that openness, right? Like the phrase, why bother? I was just thinking about it. It's really a negative phrase, right? It's a bother, which means it's not a positive thing, right?
Well, you know me. I'm not big on those adjectives.
What's that?
I'm not big on those adjectives of positive or negative. It's just what it is.
I think most people would say bother is a negative thing.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. And I think that's how we tend to look at feedback. Oh, someone's going to complain today. Now, I will tell you, Tom, that with most of my clients, the complaints that they receive when they're coached on how to respond to them and how to actually read between the lines, they're the most valuable thing they can have. And successful companies are looking at the critical feedback more closely than companies that aren't successful. Because I think our customers, I think our vendors, I think our friends are giving us the information. I think most of us, I don't want to hear it. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know when I say to someone, I know what I'm doing, my next sentence is, I'm sorry, wait a second. tell me what you were going to tell me. And I've got to put on my listening filter, not my defend Bob because he's always right, he's perfect filter, but that listening filter. And if you think about why bother, on the other side of the equation, if your customer calls you and says, hey, Tom, you know, you're doing this billing and you're billing this way, and it would be so much easier for me if you billed this way, and you don't pay attention, you don't listen, the customer is going to say, why bother? And they're going to go elsewhere, right?
I mean, they may. And I think that's where thinking about it as just information.
Right.
A customer may say, I don't like the way you're doing this. And you might say, okay, I appreciate you sharing that. Here's why I have to do it that way. As you know, because there are opportunities where customers or clients or people giving us feedback don't have all the information. They have what's real for them, and they share that, and that's valuable. And that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be able to do it, because it doesn't necessarily work best for us. If it works, if that billing system doesn't work well for that one client, but it works extremely well for 100 others, and if you shifted it, it would now impact them. Well, that's a decision you have to make.
Right.
Of, if I can't implement this overall, how do I try to maintain the relationship with the client? And you may have to say, I can't. I have to think about the broader base, and the broader base, this is where they're at. You know, so I think that to me why it's so valuable to take all that information in. Not just the good, not what some would say is the good or what people would say is bad or critical, or just take it in and be like, okay, how does that impact what's real for me? And then make a decision based on that new knowledge, experience, or information, and figure out how to move forward in a way that you firmly believe is the best way, knowing that there are going to be ramifications that come from it.
I also think within a team environment, there's a need for listening to others as well. And sometimes we've all been in the meeting where the leader comes in and says, we're going to do this way. Here's the marching orders, go. Versus, hey, I'm thinking of trying this thing. What do you all think? And getting the feedback and really listening to that feedback, and then collectively or alone going, okay, that was a really good point. I hadn't considered that perspective. I think teams often struggle with this a lot, in that there are 1 or 2 or 3 people on the team of 10, and they're always the ones who have all the stuff to say. Well, 99% of what happens is because of those 3. Meanwhile, there's someone in the back of the room who's got very quiet and afraid to intervene with those 3. But when they're brought out, because I've facilitated those types of groups, you know, hey, you haven't said anything. What are your thoughts? That person says one sentence and it's like light bulbs go off for everyone. Whoa, wait, what did you just say?
Sure.
Well, I've been listening to all you talk, and I think you're missing this one really critical piece. Like, what? And sometimes the leader will say, no, we considered that. And I'll look at them and they'll be like, okay, Bob, go ahead. Ask more questions.
Sure. Well, I think what happens is that, again, we make decisions with what's real for us, right? Usually with all the best intentions. Yes. The challenge is that oftentimes maybe we haven't considered every perspective. You know, when you get the person who is actually doing the work, let's say with that billing system, maybe it is the point where your billing system is messed up, and when offered the opportunity to share that, the person who does your billing is like, oh my gosh, yes, this is such a pain. If we could shift and do it this way, and maybe they've even researched what might be a different, or have experience with something that could be more effective and efficient for the organization. They just were never asked, or never felt like they were empowered enough to share. So I think that there's lots of reasons why there's value in learning from others. So, and why we should bother. So what's your one thing today, Bob?
I think if you're going to bother, which I think you should bother to do it, you need to go into it with an open mind. If you go into asking others for what they have to say about what you do, or giving you insights, and you think they're just going to tell me what everyone tells me, I'm not going to, if you're doing it that way, it's not worth the time for you or for them. But if you go in open-minded, eager to discover whatever that is, that can be really valuable. And I think it's a really valuable tool in deepening relationships with people. When someone provides you feedback that can be useful and you can go back to them later and say, hey, you had that really good idea and we implemented that. I really want to thank you for that. That's when you start to get past the just business transactional relationship to helping each other. That's what you and I did for each other.
Sure.
For years. It'd be like, hey, Tom, tell me what's going on. You'd tell me, hey, have you considered this? No, I never considered that. Wow, I can't believe I didn't think of that. And then you do it and it'd be like, that really worked. That's what got you and me here.
Yes.
So it does have, for better or worse, no, I'm kidding. But it does have payoffs because you and I have a very close business relationship. And I think personally we have a close relationship because we know that if I say to you, hey, Tom, I got some feedback for you, it's coming from a place of, I want you to succeed. Sure. Not, I'm smarter than you, Tom, or I do a better introduction than you, Tom, which of course is going through my head all the time.
And we all know that's the case. So it's okay.
What's your one thing?
So my one thing, I'm going to go back to, something that's been, I think, at the core of our discussions for most of the time we've been a part of the show, and that we only know what's real for us. We have our own unique knowledge, experience, and perspective, and no one else shares it, which means that what's real for us is valuable. And it means that there are others out there exactly the same. They have their own unique knowledge, experience, and perspective. And why would we not listen to that? Realizing that the impact that what they share, when they share what's real for them, might be minor for us. It might just be like, okay, I appreciate that at the moment, and I don't feel like that's going to impact who I am or what's real for me. Two, as you said, someone says something, the light bulb goes off, and I'm like, wow, that has a significant impact on what's real for me. And I think that's why my one thing is that we can always learn. And we always, I believe, should be learning. I'm not going to say should be learning. I think it's valuable for us to continue learning at every opportunity so that it can impact what's real for us. And that will help us continue to take steps, different steps often, to help us get to where we want to be.
Stephen Covey, in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, said one of the habits was be a lifelong learner.
I would agree. I mean, I think even if you didn't try, you're a lifelong learner.
But you can embrace it and really learn a lot.
Absolutely. There's no doubt. There's no doubt that there are some who embrace it and others who choose not to, even though they are likely learning as well. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. If you have thoughts or ideas you'd like to share, please feel free to put them in the comments. Or if you have your one thing, you can do that there. If you are listening to the podcast and can't put it in the comments, you can always go to our Ring of Renegades Facebook group. Just search for Ring of Renegades. Just go to Facebook, search for Ring of Renegades, and then just ask us why to join by telling us why you're a renegade. And then you can become a part of our growing community where we're sharing information and helping one another take our own unique step along our pathway to success. So with that, we hope that we will see you inside the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. We also hope that you'll join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. for our From I Wish to Success workshop. And if neither of those are possible, we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of Today's Antidote. Have a great day, everyone.
Hey, embrace the renegading you and clean off that desk. You know you need to.
You're saying that to me directly, aren't you?
I am.
All right, have a great day, everyone. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.